Coming up, down but not out, we head to Minnesota to see why some are still confident about a land-back bill in the state's legislature that hit a bump in the road. Plus, for Women's History Month, a Bois Forte author talks about her latest novel. And we sit down with artist Kathleen Wall as she shares the rich history and stories behind her creations made of clay. Join us for those interviews, plus headlines on the ICT Newscast.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.
Support for the ICT Newscast with Leah Chavez comes from the Arizona PBS studios in Phoenix at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communications at Arizona State University.
Thank you for joining us. I am Leah Chavez. The White House on Monday released its budget proposal for the 2025 fiscal year. In it, big investments for Native American communities. It requests $4.6 billion for Indian Affairs programs, including $2.9 billion for the Bureau of Indian Affairs and $1.5 billion for the Bureau of Indian Education. At the top of the priority list is tribal law enforcement. Under the proposal, $651 million would go towards public safety and justice programs, a more than $71 million increase from last year's budget. Experts warn the public, however, don't get your hopes up too soon. This budget will need to be passed by a divided Congress, which may prove difficult to do as last year's budget went virtually nowhere after being submitted. Hours after the plan was released by the White House, House Republicans already rejected the plan. We head now to South Dakota for an update on a story we brought you last week. Governor Kristi Noem has signed House Bill 1232, a critical law that creates a first-ever Indian Child Welfare Advisory Council. The bill requires lawmakers, social service officials, and leaders from the state's 9 tribes to meet every year to craft solutions. Nearly 74% of children in the state's foster care system are Native, even though Natives only make up 13% of the population. Representative Tamara St. John spoke to ICT last week about the importance of having stakeholders come together for the bill to be successful.
You know, we look at this with such a narrow lens. You know, we have a lot of conversations on the Indian Child Welfare Act, but, you know, we need more conversations. We need more people. We need legislators. We need those advocates. We need those nonprofits and our state representatives, too. We need everybody at the table. It's sort of an all hands on deck because this is a crisis.
Oregon State University has received millions in grant funding for tribal hemp development in the West. $10 million will be used among 13 tribal nations to expand manufacturing capabilities for materials and products made from hemp. The funds will support tribes in the states of Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Nevada, Montana, and California. The project is funded through the U.S. Department of Agriculture with an objective to provide education, support Native-led biomanufacturing, and create workforce development opportunities. Well, Avatar: The Last Airbender live-action series has been renewed for 2 more seasons. After fans across the globe watched Team Avatar's debut last month, the series ranked #1 in 76 countries. The show also had over 41 million views within the first 11 days. All cast members from the first season will reprise their roles, with new voices added to the mix as Aang, Katara, and Sokka travel to the Earth Kingdom and the Fire Nation. Season 1 included notable Indigenous stars Amber Midthunder, Gio Tarbell, and Nathaniel Arcand. Season 2 has already begun production and is speculated to premiere in late 2024 or early 2025. In Minnesota, a bill to return large tracts of forest land to the White Earth Nation hit a speed bump in the legislature, but tribal officials and lawmakers remain upbeat on the prospects for the effort. ICT's Stewart Huntington reports.
Most tribes lost treaty land under the so-called allotment policies that began in the 19th century. For the White Earth Nation, that meant a big chunk of its territory ended up as Minnesota state forests, without a paper trail, says bill sponsor State Senator Mary Kunesh.
I have not been able to find any agreement back in the day when this became a state forest between the DNR, the state, and the tribe. And so in essence, when during the hearing, some people were calling it a land grab. No, it's not a land grab. If anything, we're taking back from a land grab.
Kunesh wants to see the land returned to the tribe. White Earth leaders say it would be good for everyone.
Because it's something that it's going to be, in a good way, healing for us. Not healing for the White Earth Nation, but healing for Minnesota, too. You know, I think these are good things for us, and it's a good thing for not only White Earth, but it's a good thing for the state of Minnesota.
A Senate panel has tabled the bill over concerns of non-tribal members who fear loss of forest access.
Motion to table the bill, the Senate file 3480, prevail.
Fairbanks calls those concerns unfounded.
And that's what I explained to these other senators, that where we have no intentions of doing anything restrictions on these lands.
Despite the committee holdup, no one thinks the bill is dead, this year or next.
But we have to remember that there's a lot of timber on those within the White Earth Nation reservation. In that forest, there's a lot of timber that has been cut and sold for, tens and 20s and 30s of years, that those dollars did not come back to the tribe. And I think that's a huge problem. And so I would like to see Minnesota look at those issues, and I would hope that other states across the nation do as well.
Stewart Huntington, ICT News.
Growing up, I've always wanted to help people. I remember stories of my mom telling me, walking down the aisle at the grocery store and just asking people, how are you doing today? As a nurse, we're taught to lay hands, and that's so much healing. A lot of people don't get that loving touch. And as a nurse, going back to the reservation, I think, man, like, how much impact can you make just loving people right? I think for a long time, the Native American people have been fed this lie of you're dependent upon, say, the government. But I would love to create a culture where it's the Native American that says, I'm doing this so that I can make my community better. I'm doing this so that I could bring commerce into my community. I'm doing this so that I can have the resources to help others.
One day, 20 years from now, 50 years from now, Indigenous communities will likely look much different than right now. That's why we're launching a short series called Indigenous in 2024. Here we will interview the changemakers of today about their reflections, observations, and hopes. We start our conversation with Kathleen Wall. The Jemez Pueblo potter has inspired many with her signature ceramic pieces, sometimes depicting storytellers, other times depicting key figures like the aunties in her community. Kathleen Wall, we thank you so much for joining the ICT Newscast today.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us about these really beautiful figures that you brought with you to the studio today.
Well, these are Pueblo pottery. When I was a child, I learned to make Pueblo pottery by my aunts and my mother, primarily my mother. And so these are a rendition of the Pueblo singers. And in our community, we have a very active singing culture. And so I just wanted to pay homage to that. And I just feel like it's a good way to honor not only the songs we have and the culture we have, but their ability to carry on language, because through the songs we get to hear stories, and we get to hear directions and different ways of being, basically, in each song that somebody writes.
You know, what's really powerful to me about your statement is that you're telling stories through your art. And I want to ask you, as a storyteller, what the single most pressing issue is for Indigenous people in this day and age that you're observing?
Well, you know, Indian country is so vast, and there's so many people affected on different demographic levels, economic levels, because we have urban Indians, we have reservation Indians, just rural allotment natives as well. But I think that there's one thing that we all have in common, and that is the blood quantum, and how tribes keep track of that blood quantum through CIB programs. I think, or I feel as though it's detrimental to our communities to have not only a stigma of not being a full-blood Indian, but not belonging to a certain tribe. I think there's, the CIB system allows for bias and animosities towards just mixed cultures and mixed native cultures. And that for me, I feel as though we would be better off if we encouraged our leaders to think of ways to solve the problem. I mean, I know, like, let's see, Red Lake, Chippewa, they just recently upped their blood quantum to where more people were accepted, and or just looking to the future. I mean, this is one thing we have to think of, is looking at our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren and where Native country and Native people will be in the future.
I want to ask you the flip side of that question, because I think when you're a Native person, it's really in our nature to come from a place of abundance. And something we have a lot of in this day and age is joy and humor and laughter. But I want to ask you the flip side of what is the greatest strength of Indigenous people in 2024?
Well, there's a lot of strength, but I brought these pieces primarily because I wanted to highlight language and culture. And that's one thing that I am inspired by all the time. I'm inspired by my community and their ability to speak fluently all the time. And also the songs, you know, the songs keep us all going. We all, so many Pueblo people partake in dancing. And these particular men that sing songs keep the culture alive, and they keep our spirits going. I mean, I don't know if you remember, but you know, when you're dancing in the plaza, Pueblo people, we dance in the plaza, and sometimes it's so tiring. And you know, when you start passing by the drum and the singers, something just awakens you. And I know this is true for every Native out there. As soon as they hear that drum, it just awakens something so beautiful and so, I think, connected to every other Native. And I think that's a strength.
Something that I really love, especially you mentioned the singers in the plaza, is when the drummers, they have babies, and they'll be really small babies, and they'll be holding them as they're singing. And I think it's really beautiful that that's a way for future generations to be connected quite literally as a newborn or a 2-month-old, 4-month-old.
You're right. That's why I made the youngest boy in the middle, because there's always young boys partaking with their uncles and fathers and just going up, and they're always welcome. You know, that's the thing about the drum groups across the United States, across Indian country, and also the drum groups and singing groups in Pueblo country, that, you know, it's always welcome to all the boys to come and join and learn the language and learn the songs.
I want to talk about teachers because teachers are so vital in every part of everyone's life. So tell us who taught you this craft and how it's grown so much in the time since you started.
Well, my mother taught me. I was one of these kids that just sat at the kitchen table with her while she was making pottery. And so it's not so much a lesson. It's not so much, I'm going to teach you this and I'm going to teach you that. It's just an absorption. You know, Pueblo kids, we kind of just absorb the Pueblo pottery from our mothers and the surroundings, because a lot of times your mother will be working with her auntie. And so that's where I became very close to my aunts and very close to my mom. And we still work together. Even in fact, working on these particular pieces, my mom came and sat with me and we just visited. And it's a really special time.
Yeah. You not only dig your own clay to make these really beautiful pieces, but you also harvest your own paints. I imagine that you spend so much time alone with your thoughts and with yourself. What are some of the greatest lessons that you've learned about yourself and all of the time that you spend making these really beautiful creations?
That's a great question. It takes you back to the clay, because so many pieces I make aren't highlighted that they're traditional clay. And the clay has so many lessons. And I think the first and foremost lesson that clay teaches you is patience, because so many times it wants to do what it wants to do. Like, it wants to dry at a certain rate in the summer where you cannot control it. And then in the winter, it doesn't want to dry at all. So, I mean, I think it teaches you that you have to be patient with everything around you. Hard work, of course, because digging clay and foraging for paints is hard work. In fact, it's very hard for me to find black anymore. After my aunties passed from Cochiti, she used to give me black paint, and now I purchased my black paint from the store because I can't find any. And that's one thing that, you know, I feel as though that it's okay as long as we're making art. There's always going to be things that we can't find in our culture, and there's always going to be things that are untangible. But as long as we keep working and we keep, you know, expressing ourselves in our given talents and our given mediums, I think it's okay.
Well, Kathleen, I really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much for being with us.
You're welcome.
The circle of life begins with the birth of a child, and that journey begins with pregnancy. People who are pregnant or who have had a baby know their bodies and know when something does not feel right. When they speak, we must listen. Hear her. Learn more at cdc.gov/hearher/AIAN.
March is Women's History Month to celebrate the women who have made a difference in our lives and the lives of their native nations. Here's an encore presentation of an interview from our archives. A novel from an Ojibwe author is based on a fictional but familiar place. A Song Over Miskwaa Rapids is the latest from Bois Forte citizen Linda LeGarde Grover. Shirley, Sneve spoke with her.
It's my fourth fiction book, and they center around a fictional reservation and band in northern Minnesota. It's fictional, but it's very much like the lands that my family's from, Bois Forte and also Grand Portage and Fond du Lac. So it's like that, but it's fiction.
Sure it is. I mean, you must have modeled the characters on some folks, you know, or stories you heard.
You know, David Troyer has a book that I admire. It's a novel called Prudence. And so somebody was asking him too, because it's set in Walker, Minnesota. And so they're saying, what part here is really happened and stuff. And he said, I made it all up.
Birds have a lot of symbolism in all native cultures, right? And for you guys, Migazi is one of those, but the robin seems to be the messenger in your book. Tell me about the robin.
The robin takes care of stories, of old stories, and so communicates them to to their to other robins, and that is their kind of their sacred trust here. And so they keep the stories. They care for them. They observe what's going on. And so that adds to the story. And then it passes on to another generation. And so, yeah, they're kind of they're not as noticeable, I guess, a bird, but they do know the stories. And the female robins, actually, I read quite a bit about older women in this book, and female robins, as it is everywhere in the bird and animal world, are not as colorful and splashy as the males. At the same time, they are the underpinnings of existence here, and just as female humans are.
There's a lot of humor in the book, and the interplay between those who are in this world and those who have passed on, I think, is just a delightful read. I don't want to give too much away, but the way the aunties come together with their lawn chairs, I think, is just charming.
Well, my aunt, and she's in the next world herself now, and has been for quite a while, but she used to talk in that way. And so I enjoyed having those ladies come to the book here. And I remember she used to say that on the fourth day, after someone dies, the spirit arrives in the next destination. But she said, yet at the same time, they are still among us all the time. So it's just, it's a leap of faith, and something that I think is a pretty easy leap for Native people in the way that we see the world and have the world shown to us. And so I had her in mind when the ladies made their appearance here in this book. But to me, the story, the land itself is the not just the backdrop, but actually the large entity in the story is the people in northeastern Minnesota living on that land, and great changes taking place in their community. And yet the terrain, though we may change the terrain, and there's something in my newest book about changes to the terrain and human-made inroads on things that you just go, well, is that really a good thing? But at the same time, I think that the land itself, the terrain around us, I mean, not just the earth, I mean, the water, everything is so much larger and more powerful than we are, and have as what breathes life into them is the creator, great spirit. And so we are really kind of frail and futile as we do things. Just the same, this is what we have now. We have our and I think we're fortunate, that we still have reservation lands. I mean, those of us who are not obliterated, we are thankful for this every day. And at the same time, I think that traditionally we have felt, just as the robin is about the stories, our task has been to appreciate and to care for what we have been given, which is the Mother Earth that we walk upon. And so that's a big part of this story. And in all my books, then, what is happening up there? And a treaty happened. In earlier books, people had to relocate to move there, and then the characters in the books experience the things that all of us have. I mean, the boarding school, the education policies, the termination policies of the 50s through the late 80s, all the programs associated with these things. And then, of course, the larger degree of tribal sovereignty and self-determination, and is I want to show that it's not a perfect world, and we are not perfect beings in it either. We still must deal with things in the contemporary world, and it can be a struggle sometimes. How do we maintain what we really have been taught is our duty to continue in a world that changes so much.
Nitsika tai gitsib. Nitsika tai gitsib means I feel the good in what you've done. Nitsika tai gitsib. Nitsika tai gitsib. I feel the good in what you've done.
That is a slice of our Indigenous world. For all the latest, visit ictnews.org. From all of us in the newsroom, stay safe, my relatives.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.